Greetings. Today's talk focuses on Elon Musk's comments during 60 Minutes regarding the SEC and the fact that this could trigger the beginning of the end of Elon Musk running Tesla. We also cover what's going on with the stock and the stock market at the end of our show, so stick around for that and some health tips that we usually cover. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks for joining us once again. If this is your first time on our channel, please take time to like and subscribe. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. Now, as you all know, Elon Musk was on 60 Minutes this past weekend. I believe it's December 8th of 2018. He pointed out that there were several bombshell comments that he made. One of them was he referenced the fact that he wouldn't mind if Tesla went bankrupt. That's why he allowed the patents to be 80% open to other entities. He also shared that he has no respect for the SEC based on their efforts to allow hedge funds to attack Tesla unmercifully without assisting the corporation in operating well, is basically what he was saying. I was kind of shocked because I thought the comments were amazing, because as a shareholder, the CEO thinking about bankruptcy possibilities even on the horizon without being mindful of the needs of the other shareholders, I thought was kind of surprising, disappointing to hear from Elon. The second thing that I thought was amazing about the comments he made was that he also brought up the fact that because he's a 20% stakeholder, he actually has the ability to simply outvote the chairman should there be a decision that he wants to make that she opposes. And so he was suggesting, therefore, that he really still owns the chairman role, if not directly, then by default. I'd have to say to some extent he's right, because he is the CEO. I wanted to suggest today, based on some research with a former general counsel, that this actually might be the beginning of the end of Elon at Tesla. And here's why. The general counsel that I spoke with shared several items. Number one, I'd say 4 items. Number one is the fact that she could not believe that the general counsel of the company had been a divorce attorney. And the fact was that I looked back at it, and he was in fact Elon Musk's divorce attorney. He actually worked for a boutique law firm, family law firm that specialized in divorces. Prior to coming to Tesla, became the vice general counsel and then general counsel at Tesla over the last 4 years. She further indicated point number 2, which was she was shocked that Tesla was able to get E&O, or errors and omissions insurance, with the general counsel not having the kind of experience appropriate for a public company. So that she was indicating that his presence there might have been part of the problem with Elon getting advice about what he could and could not do on tweets, based on the fact that the general counsel command of the corporate governance laws associated with the SEC may have impacted his ability to do the job as general counsel. This follows up with a question or interesting development that occurred, which is the chairman and Elon Musk have brought in a gentleman named Duane Busikas, I believe, and he's the former chairman of a law firm called Williams and Connoly in Washington, D.C. So the practice that he was previously at included interfacing with the government, the SEC, the markets, etc. So I believe that the new general counsel represents a major upgrade in the quality of work that the general counsel might end up doing. So I wanted to point out that I'm sort of changing orientation to pick up the sun here, because it was a little bit dark. So what basically popped up is the fact that now that Elon has a new chairman and that chairman has now brought in a heavyweight attorney in the general counsel position, it represents an awesome possibility, because I think the company will be run much better by Elon and the new chairman, because they're starting to put the type of management in place that can introduce Elon to what the overall rules are that he is allowed to operate under, especially since he just had an agreement with the SEC about changes he would make to embrace what the rules are. And then he kind of went back on that, and Elon went back and indicated that there have been no restrictions put on his tweeting as of yet. But we also have to say that the new general counsel was just selected, and it is not clear if they're sitting in the office yet. But once they are, I do believe that Elon's tweets will have to be mindful of what SEC rules might be, while they have not. That has not been the case in the past. So what the general counsel I spoke to indicated was that the problem that Tesla is having right now is that Elon Musk is the CEO, but the board and the chairman are required to manage the company not only in the best interests of what Elon Musk wants to do or say, but the company also has to be mindful of the needs of the other 80% of the shareholders in terms of the decisions that are being made. So I then asked her, well, kind of what do you think will occur going forward? I also asked about the question of, is it a great move by the new chairman to bring in this new general counsel? And the answer that I was given was the fact that it's a great thing that they've actually gone ahead and recruited a new general counsel with the type of background and experience that's required to be part of a public company, as in the case of Mr. Busikas from Williams and Connoly. She also indicated that the reason why the chairman might have brought this person in is that if Elon violates SEC rules and the company doesn't do a good job of informing him and managing him in this process of this, the senior management could go to jail for violating those SEC rules that he is violating. So the initial response was that bringing in this general counsel was a reflection of the fact that the new chairman wanted to protect herself from legal liability by getting quality counsel in the position. The other issue, though, is now that that general counsel is aboard, where Elon will have to make a decision about whether or not he's going to abide by the
Tesla
SEC
buying
rules,
GM plants.
as well as the
Have a great
agreement
day
he has
and
with
bye
the
for now.
SEC.
So to complete our dialogue today relative to what's going on with Tesla and the SEC, I just want to say that the bottom line is that Elon Musk is very strong-willed and makes decisions that in terms of what he wants to do, and his command of what both the law is and his responsibility is relative to the law is kind of no big deal. We'll all be staying tuned, because it turns out that what will happen is that if Elon doesn't change his process, either the senior executives will have to quit to avoid going to jail, A, or B, Elon Musk will have to quit so that he can make a statement in that regard, or C, Elon Musk gets fired by the board and the company because of his unwillingness to deal with what the corporate governance laws are. So it's an interesting sort of back and forth in this situation in terms of what's going on and what best procedure and practices might be. My guess on this whole thing is that now that the Tesla is doing well, I'm hoping that Elon will actually relax and enjoy the success instead of creating a circumstance where there might be problems with the SEC or with the company. And my hope is that that's the conclusion, but there are a lot of possibilities in terms of what might occur. Now, I thought the interview with 60 Minutes was fascinating because the other thing that popped up was Elon Musk articulated the fact that he wouldn't mind the company going bankrupt because the objective he had in mind was achieved. I think that, is an unfortunate comment because clearly the shareholders want to make money as well as have a good company that works. And having Elon make associations with going bankrupt and it not being a problem, I think was an unfortunate choice on his part, and definitely not in the best interest of shareholders. Can Elon push through anything he wants to do that might be in disagreement with the board chairman and the company? I'd say it's entirely possible, but in general, I think that, what's going to be clearly in the best interest of shareholders will be mutually agreed upon, and I don't necessarily see it as two people going against each other, because sort of the number of choices right now in terms of how the company moves forward is somewhat limited. So I look forward to a harmonious sort of working relationship between the chairman, chief counsel, and Elon Musk, but there is a roadmap for how things might change. To switch gears for a minute here, the one other thing that we usually cover is the fact that we're currently, approximately 3 weeks away from earnings and news and the volatility associated with it. So I expect there to be a lot of people taking positions right now. And I want to say that the battle is sort of started in that there are a number of analysts that have come up with upgrades for Tesla based on their previous earnings and the number of Model 3s that are being produced. So I think this is great news. The only thing, I've actually visited a couple of locations to see huge numbers of Model 3 that are on the ground waiting for customers to pick up right now or for sale. So I think this is terrific news to see how much production has been done, accomplished with vehicles finished. And so it's my belief Tesla met or exceeded the revenue goals that they had. And so it's now just a matter of closing the quarter out strongly with making sure customers get their vehicles before the tax credit disappears. So the other thing I've been amazed to watch with Tesla in recent weeks or recent days, the last 3 to 5 days, is the fact that the stock keeps trying to bounce up into the 370s and 380s, which is where the short squeezes are going to occur. And it keeps sort of pulling back into the mid 360s, which I've found to be really interesting. And you can see how the battle is occurring, and even in a down market, the relative down of the stock is sort of low. One technique used by large buyers of a stock is often to do what's called buy the dip. So I'm noticing that anytime Tesla is dipping back towards 360, buyers seem to emerge that are bringing it back up into the 370 realm. So stay tuned. I think this is Tesla is a volatile stock with a lot of potential on the upside, I believe, and we'll see what occurs, but we'll definitely strive to provide the best information possible. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Just a reminder, I'm going to do my leg lifts, 20 for each leg with a 5-pound weight, omega-3, half-hour walk for the day, and remember not to go to bed within 2 hours of eating, preferably 4 hours to avoid acid reflux. I want to thank all of you for joining us. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, macht's gut, au revoir, lehitraot, choda hafez, and for those in Jamaica, enough respect, walk Woodman. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to our next conversation where we'll be jumping into the conversation. So the final thing to be covered today is the question of General Motors has discussed the fact, or Tesla/Elon Musk has discussed the fact that they're considering buying the Lordstown plant of General Motors that is closing. There are 4 reasons why we believe this is not going to occur. The first is that Elon has unionitis, which is he kind of hates unions. So the idea of him getting with a plant that would likely have union representation, very low to no chance of that. The second issue that comes up is that supply chain management. If the plant was somewhere within the frame of where Tesla currently operates, this would actually be a real possibility. But the problem is that with the shortage of truckers and trucking vehicles right now, Tesla trying to do acquisitions outside of its core activity area has a very low likelihood. The third reason why this is a no-go is that it turns out that Tesla is somewhat short on cash until they get through March of 2019. So unless there is an accretive or beneficial activity related to the change in terms of buying a plant, that's another reason why there's a low likelihood, because every dollar is actually pretty important right now. The fourth reason is, given reasons 1 through 3, the question is, why would Tesla even consider it? And the answer is, things that generate good PR for the company and Elon Musk are things that he really enjoys. So the fact that he alluded to considering the purchase of this, I think, is a reflection of the fact that he recognizes the PR value, even if there's a low likelihood of this occurring. So the answer to it is, yeah, Tesla will consider purchasing a GM plant in Ohio way outside of everything that they're doing, but the likelihood of that occurring, I think, is slim to none. But it is a good PR benefit to show that you're concerned and interested in acquiring new buildings that might employ people. Thanks once again for joining us. Have a great day.